chose we didn't tell you down.
All because he
Okay,
wanted to be a sole loser.
But
okay, wait, pay attention.
yeah,
I want y'all to really think about in the last week what has happened since UMG has won that and they had to drop this. Drake being sued for falsely promoting steak. It's coming. Remember I told y'all this. The women are coming next. Them people ain't going for that. Oh, you think you finna, cause we didn't.
So, news broke earlier today that Spotify is being sued, and in this lawsuit, they used Drake as an example of fake bot or fake streams, right? Apparently, tens of billions of his streams were faked. And this ain't just something like what Drake did in his lawsuit where he used post on X and all these other social media examples as evidence. No. This goes a little bit deeper than that. And now there are channels who are going through the court papers. There's channels who's reading the whole article. It's on Rolling Stone. I got a few clips that I want to play because I think there's a much larger picture that we need to look at. And there's a lot more going on than just this. Okay, so I got a few clips. Wack 100 actually says some things that go along with what I'm going to talk about. And Charlemagne and them on the Breakfast Club brought up something too when it comes to that investigation in Turkey. So this whole thing is in the works. And I want to go back to when we had that video of the private investigator who popped up on Aiden Ross's stream talking when they spoke about bots, and they said that they knew that Drake was bodied. All right, but we'll get into that. Let's start off with this clip first.
In a new lawsuit filed against Spotify, it claims that billions of Drake streams are fraudulent. Now, this article was released by Rolling Stone, stating a new class action lawsuit accuses the streaming platform of turning a blind eye to massive scale fraudulent streaming. Now, this is a lawsuit against Spotify, not Drake, but it claims that one musician in particular that has been the beneficiary of billions of fake streams is Drake. The suit was filed in California District Court on Sunday night with rapper and cousin.
You know what this makes me think too? How much of this did UMG know, if any, because maybe they didn't, but how much may they have been privy to during contract negotiations? Hey, for all we know, the battle really didn't have much to do with contract negotiations, which would actually make more sense. If UMG was privy to any information regarding botting, and now some will say they were the initiators of said botting, which I won't argue against. However, that would go into if they know, okay, man, you coming at us, and maybe Drake didn't know all of he knows some of it for sure. Maybe he didn't know all of it, but it makes sense that they would say, yeah, no, man, what you think you're worth based on streams, we know without a doubt that that's not true. You know what I mean? And so, you know, in part, Drake could have embarrassed himself because of the fact that UMG knew the real value because they knew what was happening behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably what devalued him more, or maybe, and the battle might have had something to do with it, but I would think if I'm making contract negotiations, I'm going with real evidence. And so knowing the real amount of streams instead of the results of a rap battle, that's more likely what I would base my offer on. You know what I'm saying?
Cousin of Snoop Dogg, RBX, named as the lead plaintiff. While the most eye-popping allegations in the suit relate to Drake's streaming numbers, there are no specific accusations of wrongdoing against the Nokia rapper, only Spotify named as a defendant. Now here's why the lawsuit was filed. Streaming royalties are paid out through a stream share model, where subscription and ad dollars are put into a giant pool with the money divided up based on each artist's share of the total streams. Most of that money already flows upstream to the most successful artists and biggest rights holders. In this type of shared pool model, fake streams hurt other artists whose shares are inflated.
Now, mind you, remember Drake said he was doing that lawsuit, right, to help the other rappers out in the building, the other artists in the building. Come to find out, he's screwing them over. And this is crazy because now this is the second thing that Drake has been named in as far as legal action goes. Now, the stake thing is he's part of that. This, he's just being used as, I guess you can say, proof that bots, Spotify has been allowing botting. But this is huge. This is huge. If as many of the streams that they say or have been botted, this is big, man. This is big. This actually puts Drake exactly where most people have been saying he is, and nowhere near nowhere near in the stratosphere of where some of his stands would like to put him.
Spotify and representatives for Drake did not immediately respond to a request for comment. While the lawsuit suggests that use of bots is widespread on Spotify, the only example it cites pertains to Drake. It claims the voluminous information which Spotify knows or should know proves that a substantial, non-trivial percentage of Drake's approximately 37 billion streams were inauthentic and appeared to be the work of a sprawling network of bot accounts. This allegedly fraudulent activity took place between January 2022 and September 2025, according to the complaint. It claims an examination of Drake's streams revealed abnormal VPN.
Hey, this is also how you get these stand accounts talking about how Drake's streams are always up, right? Oh, his streams is all right. His streams more than Kendrick. He got more streams than this person. And even though y'all said he was done, but he's the #1 stream rapper today. Now we see why. Now we see why.
Usage had obscured the location of bot accounts streaming Drake songs. For instance, the lawsuit claims that over a 4-day period in 2024, at least 250,000 streams of his song No Face originated in Turkey, but were falsely geomapped through the coordinated use of VPNs to the UK in an attempt.
Knew that song was corny as hell. He put 250 on that thing. And the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy is laughable, man. The think that you got the unmitigated gall to go to court and allege that your opponent that you lost to in a rap battle was using bots. You try to sue or name, at least in a lawsuit, the very platforms that were allowing you to run it up. Unmitigated, god dang on arrogance. It's crazy, man.
To obscure their origins. The lawsuit also alleges that a large percentage of accounts streaming Drake's music were geographically concentrated around areas whose population could not support such high volume of streams. No exact places or numbers were given, though the suit claimed that some streams reportedly originated in areas with 0 residential addresses.
They streaming out of storage units. Shit, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy. And this is connected to something, I think, too. We're going to get to that in a second.
The lawsuit also cites significant and irregular uptick months for Drake's songs long after they've been released, as well as slower and less dramatic decays rates for Drake's music compared to his contemporary. Decay rate refers to a typical streaming pattern where plays of an album or song naturally dwindle in the weeks and months after release.
Exactly what happens with Kendrick, right? When they try to say, oh, Kendrick falling off, nobody listening to him. Well, that's because it's organic. And look, all of this is not to say that other artists, including Kendrick, well, I don't want to say Kendrick himself, but like their teams haven't at some point used bots. Hell, you can throw J. Cole in there. You can throw all these big artists in there, right? But they haven't named anybody else yet. But that honestly is beside the point. When we're talking about someone who has built himself up to be the biggest, right? Those things are beside the point. We're talking about someone who so-called has streaming records, the most streamed ever, who has record-breaking streaming days. That's why this is super important. Also, there's some illegal stuff going on here, right? And he's actually stealing money and food off the table of smaller artists because of this.
The lawsuit further claims that the number of streams of Drake's music attributed to individual accounts is staggering and irregular, with a massive amount of accounts listening to Drake doing so 23 hours a day, and less than 2% of these users, the lawsuit goes on to claim, account for roughly 15% of Drake's streams.
Shoe program, nigga. Damn. And this coincides with the stand accounts. And of course, this is way bigger than that, but myself, people like Charles Brown, who are on X, have told y'all how these stand accounts be on X talking about leaving their phones on. And look, this is smart. The whole network is way bigger than them, but a lot of these accounts do this. They talk about leaving their phones on, streaming all day. And I think it's important because it says massive amount of accounts listening to Drake's music, doing so 23 hours a day. Less than 2% of these users, the lawsuit goes on to claim, account for roughly 15% of Drake's streams, and about 9% of Drake's streams are attributable to less than 1% of these users. That's crazy.
And about 9% of Drake's streams are attributable to less than 1% of these users. As a result, the complaint claims Drake's music accumulated far higher total streams compared to other highly successful artists, even though those artists have far more users than Drake. The lawsuit does not state how the plaintiff or their lawyers obtained this data, nor does it shed any light on how the analysis of Drake's streaming numbers was conducted. These allegedly fraudulent streams generated significant revenues for Drake and his company Frozen Moments at the expense of other artists, the lawsuit claims, but it also states Spotify deliberately turns a blind eye to fraudulent streaming for its own benefit. While Spotify has taken steps in recent years to combat and tamp down streaming fraud, the lawsuit casts doubt on the legitimacy of these measures and Spotify's own incentives to stop fraud. It suggests that Spotify is particularly vulnerable to bots on the platform's ad-supported free tier because myriad of accounts can be generated without handing over a credit card number. By allegedly allowing bots to run rampant, Spotify can present high stream and user activity numbers to potential advertisers, the lawsuit alleges. Note that these are accusations, so that does not mean that all of this is true, that any of these data or numbers is exactly true, because they did not clarify how this information was obtained, how they sought out this information. But this is a real lawsuit that was filed against Spotify, and it uses basically Drake as a case study to say, hey, people are faking their streams and they're getting a bigger piece of the pie, and this is unfair to smaller artists. That's what the lawsuit is claiming. How do you guys feel about it?
Hey, man. Yeah, I mean, well, Spotify definitely, if this is true, they got some explaining to do, right? But more than that, again, the quote unquote biggest rapper, however you want to put it, even though most of us don't agree with that name or that title, but the biggest rapper of this so-called generation, just more and more coming out. And do we think this is coincidental? Do we think it's a coincidence that he's involved in a lawsuit with Stake? Do we think it's coincidental that this is coming out? And there's going to be more. And look, these ain't things that's going to send Drake to jail by any stretch of the imagination, right? But it's a continual erosion of his reputation, a continual erosion of his image, a continual erosion of his accomplishments. If it ain't one thing, it's another. It's more ghostwriters coming out or reference tracks coming out. And we beyond the smoke fire thing, right? This is like a 4-6 alarm, whatever the alarm fire at this point. If you're trying to continue to say that all this is propaganda as a Drake stan, come on, man. Like, at some point you got to sit down and ask yourself, most of these things are not even connected as far as like the people that, it ain't like all these people conspired. All these entities conspired. These are separate instances that come together to form one big picture, right? But let's keep going. All right, now this is the video I did when a private investigator came on to Ada Ross's stream, and I just want to play one short part of it to point out something.
So Drake bots his music. That's what you're trying to say, allegedly.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure he does.
You're 100% sure.
Are you dumb?
Yo, Rock Nation.
See, you hear that? She said, I'm 100% sure he does, not allegedly. It's hard to hear that not allegedly part because the guy's talking, but let's check it out one more time.
Here, I was hired by a law firm to come here and talk to you.
Oh shit.
So Drake bought his music. That's what you're trying to say. Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure he does.
You're 100% sure.
Are you dumb?
All right. Now, I wanted to play that on purpose because it's a good chance. Remember, they're hired by a law firm. Who the law firm is, we don't know yet. A lot of people think this got to do with Rock Nation. I don't know. Somebody's cooking up something behind the scenes. But, I mean, I'm just going to make the assumption, this is just an assumption, that there's a good chance that they have information from these investigations. And what investigations am I talking about? Well, let's go to another clip where the Breakfast Club was speaking on this.
So there's a new class action lawsuit. So there's a ton of people who have got together to file this lawsuit, but the lead plaintiff is a rapper named RBX, who is also known as a cousin to Snoop Dogg. And what he is claiming is that Spotify should be in trouble because they have turned a blind eye to a mass scale fraudulent streaming like scam situation. And he points to Drake as an artist and says that Drake, among a ton of artists, but specifically the example given in the lawsuit is about Drake. They say that Drake has benefited from the mass scale fraudulent streaming. And the lawsuit isn't against Drake, it's against Spotify. But basically what they're claiming is that every month Spotify has billions of fraudulent streams that are generated from fake, illegitimate, or illegal methods like bots. And this happens at a mass scale, and it hurts other people and other artists on Spotify that would be making money because you make money off of your streams. So if your streams are not, blown up and these numbers aren't big and huge, you're not competing, so you're not making money the way that you would be, especially because of these huge blown up numbers that artists like they allege Drake has happening. So they're saying to Spotify, you guys should be held responsible for the money that we are not making. And they give an example of, basically saying like Drake has all these billions of streams across Spotify, but approximately 37 billion streams were inauthentic and appear to be the work of a network of bot accounts is what they're alleging. And they allege that this activity took place between January 2022 and September 2025. And this is ironic because you guys know Drake has been on this whole thing with like bots and allegations of people using bots and fake streams in the Universal Music.
That's what make it so even that much more hypocritical and even arrogant, right? And you can't overlook the fact that after launching his own campaigns to smear Kendrick and things like that, and after dragging Spotify and iHeart and even UMG into this mess, unjustifiably, you can't overlook the fact that these things are happening all of a sudden. Lawsuits. And it'd be interesting to see what, if anything, pops up after this, because I feel like this ain't the end. I think we might be just getting started.
Lawsuit with Kendrick and Not Like Us.
How is this connected, Lauren, to when Spotify, wasn't it? Spotify was investigating the playlist bribery allegations in Turkey earlier this year?
So still working on specifics on.
And this is what I wanted to bring up too. From the member of that investigation, when there was a raid out there in Turkey, right? I remember that. I'll bring up that article in a second, but this is what I'm tying into. And somehow, some way, maybe whoever that law firm was that hired that investigator who talked to Aiden, maybe they got information from those raids and from these things. Because look, absolutely, she read the documents. If you go to the documents, they're not just like, again, there's no social media accounts that they're quoting here. They're talking about things that seem to be real evidence. Okay, they know things about things being pinged. There's a whole bunch going on. And you don't get that type of information unless you know some details from the case, I would think.
on the connection, but because we broke that, not broke that. Well, we were one of the first people to report that story as well too. But what I believe is happening, because people were trying to figure out why are the investigations and all these raids that we were talking about then happening in these random locations. If you look at this lawsuit here, those random locations are where they're tracking these like bot farms too. So if you go, you get all the information from the bot farms and these places where these VPN accounts, which are these like basically online addresses that show you, where things are.
Bot farms is crazy.
Yeah, they have these.
Yeah, I mean, that's
farms.
the thing. They have clip farms too. Streamers use them too. It's basically just a group of like people sitting behind, computers or whatever that are doing whatever you tell them or pay them to do. But basically, Charlamagne, to answer your question, the locations, like in here, it says, there are these random locations that they're tracing these bot farms back to. That raid basically was them going and saying, hey, we're trying to get some more information here because something's about to happen. So if you put two and two together, I think one over here, what we talked about before with the raids is them gathering some evidence. And now you have this, big class action lawsuit that is saying we have the evidence. Now here is the lawsuit. So I think what you want to see is these two come together to try and prove what they're claiming is happening with allegedly with Drake and a ton of other artists.
Yeah, I don't know about Drake, but this is going to be a situation in the future because I feel like in the future this is going to be like the next federal freak off, like one of the next big federal cases because this is illegal. Like it's going to be a lot of artists who have been using these bot farms to blow their numbers up, blow their digital sales up, not just their.
Hey, you know how in sports, when it comes out that there was some type of cheating or something like that, the school loses like scholarships, they'll take away championships and shit. So you got to, hey, if this is all proven out, Spotify is found to be at fault for anything. The bot stuff is proven that Drake's streams has been proven to be. We got to take something from him too, man. Those so-called championships, that shit got to come down, bro.
Sales with the control narratives on social media, they're gonna find themselves in some federal situations.
Or not only that, you use those bot forms to get more money from a record label to sign you, right? Because
that's what this is.
That's what it's based on.
That's
right?
essentially what this is.
A lie, basically.
Yeah.
And the bot forms, if you look on TikTok, because I've seen pictures, I don't know if they're real or not, but they have like maybe like 100 phones set up, and 100 phones are streaming different artists. So I guess you pay these bot forms, and let's say you pay, and then this month is this artist.
And wait till Peter get involved, because they got monkeys that know how to freaking be sitting at the computer typing all this stuff.
All right, Charlamagne going off on a tangent, but now we getting the picture together, right? The turkey thing, we got the PI. I don't know why I keep wanting to say AI. Now let's just again refresh our memory with that investigation. All right, and y'all remember this story? Spotify investigating playlist bribery allegations in Turkey. Reports say multiple employees involved. Spotify is facing serious turmoil in Turkey, including allegations of bribery around playlist placement and mounting regulatory pressure. Now, that don't say anything about bots. However, this is part of the story, if you ask me. All of this is part of the story, right? You got people literally going all around the world chasing this stuff down. You got streaming farms set up in non-residential areas. You got these fools working out of storage units out at this point, or even warehouses, right? And it's sounding like it's a fact that Drake is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest recipient of these farms. Now, we're going to tie this together because I think that this is part of a much larger, I don't know if you want to say plan, of get back, if you want to put it that way. And who is this get back being initiated by? Well, who knows? Drake done made a shit ton of enemies at this point, right? He's made enemies at Spotify who was looking out for him. He's made enemies at iHeart. He's made enemies at UMG, despite the fact they said they can't wait to start working with him again. They don't care. They own the lion's share of his catalog, right? And he's made enemies in the music industry. And again, that private investigator said, this ain't allegedly. We know that he's botting. We know. You got to assume that she's probably privy to some of the investigative info, right? But let's check out what Wack 100 said about this, because he made some very interesting comments on this too.
Build your ass, we'll tear your ass down.
All because he wanted to be a soul loser.
Okay, wait, pay attention.
Yeah.
I want y'all to really think about in the last week what has happened since UMG has won that, and they had to drop that shit. Drake being sued for falsely promoting steak. It's coming. Remember I told y'all this. The women are coming next. Them people ain't going for that. Oh, you think you finna, cause we didn't. They just hit him with the steak lawsuit. Saying you falsely promoting the gambling act. You using the money from there, you lying to the people. You never put up no money. Now it is. The women coming next, bro.
Ooh, the women. Ooh.
Watch. Listen,
Let's finish your food.
Ollie is guilty of DMing and putting the bitch on that plane.
Man, Wack, you said this a while ago. You said all this shit was coming. Man.
Didn't I tell you? I said, bro.
They're crazy, man.
Bro, I don't know who this nigga think he is. Bad work. Nigga just come and drop it in the chat. See what's going in the chat.
Hey, if that
it's in the chat. Yes.
If anything come from that Spotify situation, can he receive jail time, or is it more like?
No, that ain't designed for him to get jail time. That's designed to take his stardom, take his status.
Right.
Oh, nigga, them shits was fake. You ain't who we thought you was.
Exactly. That's the whole purpose. I don't think any of this is going to end up in any sort of jail time or anything like that. The stake thing, maybe, I don't know, that might end up in some sort of fines. I don't know. But there's a much bigger thing going on here. And this is, I think, and this is just me talking, right? I'm making this up off the top of my head. This is the get back. This is the industry get back. All right, Drake, you had your chance. You had your time. Now it's our turn. Let us show you what we can do. And we got a lot more resources. We got a lot more money. Our money way longer than yours. All right. So yeah, I think this is the get back, man. And the get back ain't necessarily to put him in jail, right? It's more than one way to skin a cat. The get back is this image that you kind of stood on and took pride in and even gloated about, right? The one that we built. Well, how dare you insult us and disrespect us by doing the things that you've done and saying the things that you said when we're the ones who built that image. So let us show you how we can just destroy that whole image too. I don't know. I'm just making this up. This is all story time, man. But that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Now they setting him up. I guarantee you, he's scheduled to have an album come out. If not fourth quarter, somewhere in the first.
Well, we in the fourth quarter now.
They don't want to send him to jail, not yet. They gonna do that later. About spring break, the bitch allegations gonna pop up. They already got them lined up.
Not gonna lie, man. When they get to the women, that's what destroy you.
Hey, bro, listen.
Right there, man.
You listen to me, bro. Drake is all the way with the bullshit with the bras. He know it. He orders them bitches like he have in and out. He used to order the straight stun bitches. I know.
Straight stud. You know them straight stud. I remember the magazines from when I was locked up. Some nice women up in that joint.
Shit, he's
in
a bitch.
Now, let me get a double.
Miss Dredre was one of them. He put a gag order on that bitch. That's how she got the million followers on Instagram. I'm telling you, if you think them folks, look, while they building you, they putting their war chest together too. He get his ass out of, he do what he's supposed to do, he good. He get his ass out of line. Hey, bro, you'll never see Jay-Z get out of line with them folks. Every time something come up with Jay-Z is going.
And all this because he couldn't swallow the L. All this because of that. None of this had to happen. I almost guarantee you, man, had he just took the L and moved on, made some music, never tried to fight this, take this to court, none of that, the stake thing probably would have never happened. I'm not saying the Spotify thing would have never happened, but maybe they find a way not to put his name. I don't know. Maybe it comes up anyway. Maybe it doesn't ever happen. Maybe it doesn't. Listen, he's probably pissed off some really. He's pissed off some powerful people. He's pissed off some powerful people. And even when you listen to what that PI said about being hired by a law firm and that she knows he bought it, somebody's putting a lot of money behind this, a lot of money. And that's the problem. And you got to think Drake probably annoyed right now. He probably annoyed because he don't know what's coming next. Who, what, from where, he don't know. And he don't know who working against him, because that's the problem when you create so many enemies.
Don't disappear. They gonna make sure of that. And he ain't never gonna get out of line with them, because he know they got all kind of scuds they can launch on him.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Crazy.
Them niggas they trying to they gonna defame him. If he drop an album, it ain't gonna do no numbers. If he go try to tour, it's gonna be for I'm done. They finna over it. I said it. How are you attacking the very same machine that built you?
Yeah.
You can play up for the ones to follow. Yeah, they about to, it's over with. 2026 is over for him.
He should have just took the L, though. He should have just took the L.
Exactly. And then you got to remember, bro ain't going to save him. Because shit, you ain't tied to that no more.
Who is bro?
None of them ain't going to save him. They ain't looking at it like they, cause if he was still tied to that, they been sat down with them and, you know, well, shit.
Why that nigga Lil Wayne ain't do the verses, man?
He say he was.
All right, we're gonna end it right there, y'all. But look, that's what's going on. Again, there's other platforms that went through the whole document and everything. If you read through the document, it doesn't sound like it sounds serious as far as them having at least credible evidence to present to support the lawsuit. How far it'll go and so on and so forth, who knows? This might even probably most likely end up in a settlement, because I don't see Spotify wanting to be in court, but who knows? But even more to the point is that this is now the second lawsuit that Drake is named in, even though in this one he's not being sued directly. We got that. We had more stuff coming out of him being involved, or of him, having reference tracks. And I agree with Wack on two things. Number one, this is definitely get back. And number two, this ain't the end. And how deep or how far it will go, I don't know, man. He pissed off a bunch of people, and it ain't stopping. And it just made me think of all these instances of the investigation in Turkey, like the Breakfast Club said, of the lady popping up on Aiden Ross's channel. I know on that they was talking about defamation, and they even brought up Megan Thee Stallion, but she also talked about she knew that Drake bought it. She knew. So and there are aspects of that I would think, if they can prove that Drake was privy to some of this, if there are some illegalities, he might end up having to bear some responsibility. But who knows, man? We'll see. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. I think at this point we're beyond asterisks when it comes to his career. There's no asterisks no more. And I don't even know if you can say question mark. I think it's fair to say that it's all been manufactured, and the biggest industry plant to date is right before us, and that being Drake, right? Biggest industry plant. And he pissed off the industry that built him up. And now, piece by piece, they are going to fillet his ass. Let me know what y'all think. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll check y'all in the next one.